This is episode 6, and I do recall where I left off last time. It was in the heat of Shepard Air Force Base, Wichita Falls, 112 degrees every day on the ground for 3 weeks in a row. And this is where I learned the military format and how to manage life in the military. I didn't tell you that I had gone up 2 ranks upon graduation from dental school and was now a captain, which is 03. So I went from second lieutenant. I guess I was first lieutenant for a few moments and then became a captain, because that's the lowest rank of any military medical or dental officers that are serving. And I'll go on with the talk in just a second, but I just wanted to divert with just an observation about what we're doing. And I thought to myself, if I was applying like I did for the Air Force, or for dental school for that matter, or anything else, I made applications and I dressed up and I went in and I gave interviews. And it occurred to me that this is kind of what I'm doing here, in the same sense of, if you were interviewing me for a position in your business, say, you would want to know a little about me, and you would bring me in and talk to me about my background and where I came from. And in some ways, very briefly, it is sort of the interview that I do with every person who comes in, not to this extent, but I need to kind of know, where are you from and what brings you in and what are your concerns and things like that. And that's kind of the interview process, in order to learn enough so that I'm not treating an object but an individual. I can look at tissues and teeth and come up with plans, and they could be so far off because of the fact that they are attached to human beings, and what are the worries and concerns and the systemic elements, all the rest of it. It's not about the teeth or the gums, at least at first, and my contribution to your health in many ways is very narrow. And that's appropriate, because there are others who you need for help in other areas. But anyway, I was thinking about the idea that this is sort of like an interview, and you get to interview. And then I thought about how we market. How do we market to patients today? We do it through some of the classic ways, or advertising and marketing, which is condensed down into a few sound bites or images, things that might awaken a patient and attract them to you, so they come through your door and not someone else's. It is I guess it's necessary in a sense that you have to get somebody's attention. They have to see you in some regard before they'll make the next step. I think the problem with this is, now I'm talking as a dentist. We're people trained to do care. We're not people necessarily trained to market and to do all the rest of it. In my particular case, I will tell you that part of my experiments into marketing and Facebook and all of that, at my age too, I'm 65, these are the things that I can do because of the fact that my skill set is pretty much established thanks to the military. In other words, when I went into the military and I took a 1-year residency program, and then I had the opportunity to go to Germany and to practice dentistry. And I did a lot of periodontics, but not just periodontics. I did a lot of operative dentistry and surgical procedures, extractions, all the rest. I didn't do a lot of orthodontics. And I recall in the past I told you that my experiences in dental school were not favorable to periodontics and orthodontics. But I didn't really tell you the story on orthodontics, and it's the same. It is that you can bend a wire and learn how to bend wires, but you don't know what that's going to do until you put the appliances into people's mouths and then they go away, and then they come back later. You learn what movements happened, what worked, what didn't, how to adjust, how to correct things. All of those things are part of orthodontic training that requires years of time on the subject. And again, back to dental school, we didn't have that kind of time. So anyway, back to, I'm trying to fill in some of the things I think I've left gaps in, and I'm sure there are lots of others. But back to the marketing and all of that, I think we do our best to try and attract people, but it's not a skill set that we are either born with or are trained in. And sometimes we become the pawns of others who do have marketing and all the other things, and then they work to get us to do certain things in certain ways. And that, I think, is part of business, and probably requires some interviews back and forth on that to make sure that I'm working with compatible people. And I will tell you right now that I'm very pleased with the marketing group here in San Antonio, and I'll probably put their name in the show notes just out of appreciation, and that's the Social Being. I found the Social Being because I needed somebody that was nearby that I could talk with and work with, and see them face to face. I, prior to this, was working with a group in LA and another group in New York City, and that just is very difficult to do. As far as I'm concerned, if the objective is to control my message, I didn't want to turn it over to others. You have to, at some level, turn things over to others. I get that. But I didn't want to become a brand that was not a person. I wanted to be a social being, and that's why I've connected with that group. It's because I think that it's more organic as we find one another in dentistry and stuff. All right, now I've way off subject of the military. I want to now give you one experience, and we'll continue on later. I was back now at the very beginning of my residency training, 1-year residency training at Barksdale Air Force Base, having just come from 3-week indoctrination program on how to march, how to salute, who to salute, all the rest of it. And I'm driving in a car driven by a friend of mine I'd just met, who was another graduate dental student who's now a dentist, who's going to be in the same program as I am. We're driving in his car down a street on base, and I look over to my right. I'm in the passenger seat on the right. I look out the window, and about, I want to say, let's do it in car lengths. I would say about 8 car lengths off in a field is a young man standing at attention, saluting me. Now, he didn't have to salute me because, number one, I'm in a car. I'm not walking by him, and he is of no rank, meaning he's an airman basic with no insignias yet. He's brand new. And on one level, I could totally relate to his feelings of, I'm overwhelmed here. Everybody outranks me, and I don't know really what to do. So I'm going to do the best I can to respect everybody. I don't want to embarrass myself, and I do want to show respect. So he is standing at attention. I'm stopped at a light with my buddy driving, and I look over, and he's rendering me a salute. And I pause a second, and then I salute him. He drops his salute, he turns, and he marches off. And I was flabbergasted. I didn't know what to make of it. And I will tell you what I made of it next time. Thanks a lot.